All right, hello YouTube. My name is Bardia and I just passed my PMP exam this past week after 2 weeks of studying and using some tools like AI. And I just wanted to talk about my experience and share some of the things that I learned along the way. And hopefully this video is going to help you on your journey to getting your PMP certification as well. So with that said, there are some things that I want to clarify. First, when I say in the title that I passed in 2 weeks, that doesn't mean I passed after 2 weeks with starting from zero, knowing nothing, and all of a sudden going to passing the test in 2 weeks. No. As you already probably know, there's a requirement that you have to have experience doing project management type roles and things of that nature. So I was familiar with some of the concepts, not everything that PMP really wants, but I didn't start from zero. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, when I say using AI, I did not only use AI. I used a lot of tools, but one of those key tools was AI. So we're going to talk about that more too. And finally, if you don't want to sit there, watch me blabber on about my experience for the next 10 minutes, you can just jump ahead all the way to the end. I think I'm going to timestamp it there. Just a summary of what tools I use and what I think is going to be useful for you too. So with that, now let's move on. First thing that I did was I signed up for the prep course that you have to take to get the 35 units required. And I registered for this class through Educate 360 Project Management Academy back in August. And the class was 4 or 5 days in person, and there was each day about 8 to 10 hours. And it was an instructor-led class, and each day we would go through many slides, and he would just read through them, and that's it. And he told us to study some of these cheat sheets that he gave us. You have to study these. There are inputs, tools, and outputs, and you have to memorize these, and you go to the test. It wasn't helpful, but that's just my experience. I did not think it was a great class, and I did not learn much. And on top of that, I think it was fairly expensive at $1,000. I'm lucky enough that my company said they're gonna pay for the class. That's why I took that. But there are much better options in my opinion. The PMI official prep course itself is about $700. And if you don't want to do that, there are much more cheaper options like Udemy or Coursera. I think those are $30, $40 or something like that, max 200. I don't know, but they're much cheaper. But anyways, after the class, I felt like I did not learn much. I was not any better off. So for the next 5 months, I was just busy doing my work. I did not think about the test. It didn't cross my mind to even plan for studying. Lo and behold, January 26, 2025, I get this email from the company that, hey, if you don't pass the test by February 18th, we're not going to be able to reimburse you. I panicked. I just looked online, and the first time slot that I found that I could take the test was February 11th. So I had from January 26, 2025 to February 11th, 2025 to study for the test and take the test. I didn't know what to do. The only thing I had available to me at that point that I knew through this Educate 360 platform online, they had a bunch of tests and exams and videos on a specific subject. So I go there and I take the mock exam that they have, and I score about 50%. That I was not feeling great at that point. So I didn't know what to do. I go online and search on YouTube, and I find a video by this guy, Max Mao. He's amazing. He's a proper YouTuber now. He posts a lot of PMP related videos on YouTube. I highly recommend checking out his channel. He said in that first video that I saw that he passed the test in 2023 after studying for 2 weeks. So that gave me hope. First thing that he mentioned was he watched videos from Ricardo Vargas and from PMBOK 6th and 7th edition both, I think. And that was a lifesaver, honestly. This Ricardo Vargas guy, he's a saint. Without him, it would have been impossible for me to even attempt this. I think it's one of the best curated material that I've seen on the PMP from anybody, and all instructors in general should strive to be something like him, because what he does, he understands the material so thoroughly himself that it feels comfortable when he's talking about him. You don't feel like he's just telling you to memorize this. He creates this frame of work and a structure to approach it from a really high level, and kind of gives you the right frame of mind to think about these concepts and topics. So my recommendation is watch the PMBOK 7th edition guide that he has first, because as he says, it's an umbrella. It's about the principles and the major drivers of how a project manager should think. And the PMBOK 7th edition is the latest edition of the guide that the Project Management Institute has put out. So I would definitely watch that first. I think that one is about 1 hour, if I'm not mistaken. I watched that twice, and that was great. After that, I watched Ricardo Vargas's PMBOK 6th edition guide, and that one is purely on the processes. And that's the part that you really need to understand what phases there are, what processes there are, but how they interact with each other. So it's not about memorizing, it's about understanding the relationship between these processes. So after watching those two videos, for the next 2 weeks, essentially I started watching the videos on the Educate 360 platform. Each day I would watch some of those videos and then take some of the tests related to those subjects. But here's where AI came in. I have a long drive to work. I'm crazy. It's about 3 hours one way going to work. I use that time effectively. I paid for the higher subscription of ChatGPT, which has the ChatGPT voice. And in the car, I would just start having these conversations with ChatGPT about project management. So I would bring up this topic and we would talk about it. The ChatGPT would go through some of the main points and then ask me questions and then quiz me, stuff like that. And honestly, somewhere along the line in that 2 weeks, I started understanding the concepts better, because instead of just approaching it from a purely memorization standpoint, I started to think about these concepts and talk to somebody, ChatGPT, about how it would apply in different scenarios. And that's when it clicked. That's why I totally understand when PMI says it's a frame of mind, it's a mindset. You have to have the right approach to the test. It's not just about memorizing. I totally agree with that. So after that, as I was taking these tests, I started to feel better, but I think I was taking the shorter versions of the test. When it came just to 4 to 5 days to the test, I took one of the timed 3-hour practice exams, and on that, I think the first attempt I scored about 72, then I scored 74, and then the last one I got 83. But I still felt like maybe this is not representative, because a lot of the questions became repetitive, so I knew already what the answer was. So getting 83% didn't mean that I'm really ready. And I don't know why, but I didn't know about PMI Study Hall. And I'm hoping this video helps you so you know about PMI Study Hall, because that's a lifesaver. PMI Study Hall is this official tool that they have on the PMI website that I think is about $49 a month. But you get access to a whole bunch of games, a whole bunch of subject-specific quizzes they call practice tests and mini exams, and 2 full practice exams for 3 hours, 4 hours, each 180 questions. This was amazing. The moment I found that, it was a game changer too. So what I started doing was I would take the last 3 or 4 days, because I watched all the videos on 2 times speed on Educate 360 platform and took most of their tests. I came into the PMI Study Hall. I did the first practice test there, and it was a mini exam. I think I got about 60%. And I panicked again. I'm like, wow, really? So all this effort on Educate 360 didn't mean anything here. But no. Basically, how it works for the PMI Study Hall, they have 4 categories of questions: easy, moderate, difficult, and expert. The expert level questions are tough. So just to put that in perspective, some of those expert questions, not some, all of them, as I was taking the test, I just went through it normally, and after it was done, I would put the question into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT what it thought. And most of the time, ChatGPT would also get it wrong. So just there you have it. But I didn't care too much. I realized that these are some of the really extremely hard questions, because after searching online, everybody was saying if you take out the expert questions, that should be actually your normal score. And without the expert questions, I think I was doing much better. But overall, after I finished those 3 or 4 days taking those tests, I think I was averaging about 72% on the mini tests, the subject-specific ones. And on the exams, mini exams and the long form exams, I was about 75%. And if you take the expert out, probably I was about 80%. So I felt ready to take the test. And after that, the test day, I think the most important thing for anybody taking the test is time management. You absolutely have to make sure that you have enough time to go through all the questions once, and you also allocate yourself enough time to go back and review the questions, because there are many different points that you have to read the question carefully. There's a little thing that it said that you missed. Sometimes it says what should you do first, what should you do next. These are different things that you have to pay attention to. Also, the test has 3 sections. Each one has 60 questions. For me, I think overall the test is adaptive. That's why there's no certain answer that if you get 70% you pass, 80% you pass. Because that first section was extremely easy. I thought it was very easy. The second question was a little bit more difficult, and most of the extremely difficult questions came in the third part. So that's why I'm thinking it slowly adapts to the answers to the level that you are, and that's how they determine if you are at a passing level or not. And I finished the test. I took both of my bricks, which I recommend you should too. And after that, right after, they told me preliminarily the results showed that I passed. And after 2 days, the official results came out and I passed with 3 above target. So it is possible to do it in 2 weeks. But now the summary that I would say, hey, hello again, all those people who jumped all the way from the beginning. My recommendation is start with the Ricardo Vargas videos, PMBOK 7th edition. After that, watch the PMBOK 6th edition from Ricardo Vargas. And after you do that, if you have Coursera, Udemy, doesn't matter, whatever course you have, go through those videos that they have on a specific subjects. And after each subject, take the test through whatever resource that you have available to you. My suggestion would be PMI Study Hall. And after doing that, also start chatting. If you have a study buddy, do that. If you don't, I recommend using AI, and just using AI as like a study buddy to talk with and go over these concepts and get into the right mindset. And I think if you do all of that, you're in a good place to pass the test. It's really nothing crazy or impossible. I think it should be possible to study for this test in 2 weeks. And when I say 2 weeks, it's not 2 weeks of pure studying for me. I was working full time. I mainly had my weekends, and after work, I would come to study for maybe 2 or 3 hours. But as I said, the main portion of my conversation with ChatGPT happened during the morning as I was driving to work for 2.5, 3 hours. Anyway, so I hope that you found this video helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments, and have a great day. Bye.